Jummy Opedare, a devout woman of God, wife, mother, and entrepreneur. A God-fearing woman who has devoted her time to ensuring that God's message is used to empower everyone, but most especially women. With a strong belief in the importance of women empowering women and educating each other through our life experiences, she is the founder of Women's Forum, Let's Be Real, a forum for women to work through issues and set and accomplish goals together. Held every second Friday of every month at 6 Elton Road, Lee Green, London. Keep up with Let's Be Real here on PRZ-FM every Tuesday, 8 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Let's Be Real on PRZ Radio 109.2 FM. My name is Jummy Opedare. I'm your host. Thank you for tuning in again today. It's going to be a wonderful time. Even together, I'm so delighted to bring this program to you wherever you are. People listening to us all over the world, we really want to say thank you, a massive thank you unto you, and thank you for tuning in all the time. Today, I have in the studio with me my very own FMJ. He's been here before. We've been talking about this money matter, and I thank you for all the feedbacks. People have called me and said they've taken to the advice that FMJ has given to some young people. They really appreciate it. It was echoed even last week that you need to have at least 3 strings of income. I won't forget that, and I believe that you won't forget it too. So if you are in 9-to-5 job and you think that's the end of the world, please think about what you can do that will add to your income, and God will bless you. God will approve of whatever decision that you take. Today is a different thing. Welcome, FMJ. Let me welcome you. For say hello to our listeners.
Good evening. Thank you very much. Lovely to be in the studio again. It's almost feeling like home now.
Oh yeah. And we are still going to have more of you. So today we are talking about the Black History Month. But at the end of the day, we are still going to talk about money matter. Last episode we had a question that we might want to answer today, so that the listener can know that we have not ignored his question. And Absolutely. The question was like, what can a fairly elderly person do in terms of starting your own business, which was our last episode when FMJ was here. Do you want to give?
Yeah. Thank you very much. Oh, and thank you for that question. I also got quite a number of responses as well, and people asking some questions with regards to our last show. Okay. What can somebody older do? Whilst I don't want to give the answer directly, because I believe everybody is different, one of the things that make businesses successful is passion. Because when you're passionate about what you do, you're able to, put all your effort into it. You're able to, a business is really an extension of yourself. Okay. True. So now, if somebody is older, one of the things I'll first of all ask them, because you need to do an evaluation of yourself. What are you passionate about? Because there's no point telling you to go, say, for example, starting a restaurant and you are not passionate about a restaurant. What you're going to do is you're just going to kill the business, because you're not going to open on time, you're not going to get the delivery in, on all of that kind of stuff. So I want to first of all ask, what is your passion? We've seen a lot of people when they've retired or when they're much older, they start businesses. I think there's so many stories. Like Colonel Sanders, selling KFC.
True.
Well, because everybody has their path in life. So the first question I will ask is, what are you passionate about? I cannot ignore, however, that the older you are, generally, the wiser you are.
Sure.
It doesn't always follow.
It's supposed to be.
It doesn't always follow, but generally, the older you are, the wiser we are. So that already indicates that perhaps you have wisdom that somebody else could benefit from. And you need to find a way to tap into that wisdom and monetize it. So perhaps it's passing on the knowledge that you've gained over maybe your career or over your life, and passing it on to the younger generation, maybe seminars or speaking events and stuff like that. But again, that's a side income, that's a side thing, and that's really you should be doing anyway. But in terms of starting a viable business, you need to do some research. Number one, into yourself. What do I like? What are my passions? Then do some research into that business, because the other thing you may find, everybody's circumstances are different.
True.
Some people may want to get hands-on on the business, so they want to be directly involved. But then some people, it's a business where you can employ other people
Your money
and
work for
more
you.
oversee. So without trying to give the direct answer, I would ask that listener to find out what their passions are, what they're interested in, and then begin to do some research into it. Feel free to contact me on any of the social media platforms. Felix Mac JR. That's FELIXMAKJR. FELIXMAKJR, and I'll be able to answer any questions that you may have. But definitely, you're on the right track thinking, what can I do? In fact, I remember I met somebody some years ago. He was retired. He was close to 70. And so when I greet him, when he was introducing himself, he said, "Oh, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm retired, but I'm retired." So he was saying that RETYRE, like a car tire, is retired. That is not retired. Till you go to your grave, you must be productive. Your life must be of benefit, of advantage to your world. And I think it's a good way that even older citizens are just thinking, because if you look around the world now, pensions, there's nothing. There's nothing in a pension. They give you how much, and you can't even live, you can't sustain the same lifestyle you were when you were working. So it makes sense that there should be an extra income. But the best way is the extra income, if it comes from something that you love to do. That way, it's not even a job. It doesn't feel tasking. It's just something you love to do.
Thank you so much. I believe that person is happy with that response. And if not, please let us know so that we can dig in deeper. God bless you. Thank you so much. Today we are talking about Black History Month. What is Black History Month? People have been talking about Black History. It was changed to a month in 1976, isn't it? It used to be a week, and started from America, celebrating the integrity, the achievements of the Black people, and all sorts of things. And it has become a big commercialized thing or whatever. I don't know, celebration for Black people, but we need to dig in deep to know better about this particular Black History Month. Would you want to say something about it before we start the...
Yeah, absolutely. Black History Month started in America, then moved to Canada, and is also celebrated in the United Kingdom, and I think the Netherlands as well. And just like you said, it's highlighting some of the things that Black people have been through, which I think is a good thing to do that. And so... But over the years, I think in the UK now, I think for about 100 years thereabout, they've been celebrating Black History Month. In Wales, where I come from, they've it was 10 years. We celebrated 10 years of Black History Month last year, so it's 11th year this year. And those celebrations, we highlight some of the struggles of the Black people, what they've been through, and how far they've come. And we try to celebrate some of our successes. There's a saying that if you don't know where you're going, know where you're coming from. Because it's very easy to forget where you're coming from. They see a lot of people, particularly the music industry, mostly coming from America, and is also even in the UK, and people use it, places like Nigeria as well. They use the N-word. I don't want to use it online. They use the N-word when they're singing. Is it my this and my that, and sometimes you wonder, how could you be using that word? Because if you know the history of that word, you wouldn't just use it so flippantly. And this is one of the good things about Black History Month, because it highlights some of the things that has gone perhaps wrong, and also the positives. I know some people say, why are we celebrating Black History Month? I say, yeah, we need it. Why don't we have White History Month?
Yeah, should Christians be celebrating Black History Month?
Well, I think if white people want a History Month, they should go ahead and get one. Yeah, but I think particularly for Black people, and maybe I'm passionate about this because I'm Black myself, I think Black History Month is important for us as a people to know where we're coming from, to know where we're at, but most importantly to give a trajectory of where we are going, because sometimes when we lose track of history, we tend to just do anything, and you know, it's just a bit like this. I don't know if you know about this Black Lives Matter movement in America, where a lot of Black people have been shot and been killed and all of that, and you know, this movement, and people are saying, why must you say Black Lives Matter? All lives matter. Well, yeah, that's true, all lives matter, but at the moment our focus is on the Black people who are being killed. You know, and in the same way, Black history, we cannot deny that even after slavery has been abolished for over 100 years now, you know, we celebrated the centenary of the abolishment of slavery many years ago, a few years ago, but still you can see that there's a lot of marginalization between Caucasians and the Black people. And truly, if we're all one under God, there should be equity, there should be equality with everybody, but you still find that there is still institutional racism. Even when you look at the police force and you know, people getting jobs, there's still a lot of racism. Sometimes they don't speak it. I mean, obviously in some countries, some people are quite blatant about it and they talk about racism and, you know, and use all those nasty words that we don't want to hear. But then there's some people that are very subtle about racism, and Black history, I think, brings to the forefront the topic of racism, tells us what happened. I mean, I don't believe that we should talk about it just so that we can whip the white people and say you did this and you did that. No, I think, you know, there's some people that particularly just use Black history for that purpose. I don't think, you know, we need to get to a point where we can move on from the hurt. Exactly. However, in order to move on from the hurt, I think we still need to highlight what actually happened.
Yeah. It's so for you to know where you are going, you need to know where you are coming from, so that you can adjust your ways. So are we going to say that Black History Month really add any value to us today?
That's an interesting question, because I wrote an article for a newspaper, I think it was a couple of years ago, and I said, well, they should stop Black History Month. I know. I said stop Black History Month, because one of the things, Black history at that point for me, it was getting irritating, because whenever it was Black History Month, all we did was we see our ladies being paraded dancing, you know. In fact, I remember when I was at Kingston University, and I was part of the ACS, and Black History Month at Kingston at that point was just another opportunity to go to the club, to have a rave, or to have an event. And then when I look back at it now, yes, maybe we were young and we just wanted an excuse to have fun, but I think in a roundabout issue, we kind of missed the point. We missed the point of something so valuable, something we can use to our advantage, something we can use to empower ourselves, rather than just, again, having fun. I mean, I'm all for fun. I believe 100% fun, 100% work, but there must be a balance. And so when we talk about Black History Month, for many years, and even in 2018, most of the times what we know or what is paraded in the media, athletes, you know, people that run and all of the, you know, they showcase Usain Bolt and, you know, Mo Farah and all of these people, which is great. Or they talk about music, and we have so many rappers, we have so many singers, you know, but that's what the media wants us to know. The media never really tells us about things that are empowering. So yes, because Black History Month, so I would have said it didn't have any value, but I think if we use it properly, it can add value. It can add value to us today. But so far, to some extent, in some places, it's not really the kind of value that we're hoping to get. And I'm hoping that things will change from now on.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that, because I was talking to a young person today and was saying that, I said, what's your idea of this Black History Month? And he was like, why do we have to be reminded only on Black History Month that we need to achieve? Why does it have to be like that? I said, okay, let's talk about it. There's some good things, because some people will never remember. If the Black History Month is not there, they will be saying, oh, because I'm black, oh, I can't do this, oh, because of my color. But some people have gone beyond their color to achieve something, even though we still know that there are some limitations somewhere
Absolutely.
around, or there's some things. But there are some things that their faces we are seeing, that people are talking about them in the Black History Month, some things that they did that could remind us that, hang on a minute, we can do it as well.
Absolutely. I think, that's the right way, because, when you think of someone like Martin Luther King, he was an activist, and he was also a Christian, a reverend, and he really pushed for equality between the Caucasians and the black. Aside from, ask some young people today, they don't even know who MLK is. And that, I think, is very disappointing, because if your grandmother was working on a plantation and she was being whipped, she was being raped by slave masters, you want to know about that, and so that you don't make the mistake. And I think today, that's one of the reasons why the black people are still backwards to a large extent. In fact, all of this slavery, I heard a story, I'm not sure how true it is, but I guess the principle is not far from the truth. I heard that when the colonial masters went to Africa and they wanted to get slaves and all of that, what they did was they showed the kings, the obas, they showed them something, and when they looked at it, they saw their reflection in that thing. Mirror. And they were so excited. And they said, you know what, if you give us slaves, we'll give you this. And what did they show them? They showed them a mirror. They showed them a mirror, and they sold their brothers and sisters. Now, whether that story is true or not, the fact is, slavery would not have happened if we didn't have an insider.
True.
Our kings sold us for what? For money. And this is why I think Black History Month is so important, and particularly economic empowerment. Because when you look at it now in 2018, we're talking about Brexit, we're talking about what is happening in Europe. Guess where everybody is going to? They're going to Africa. Theresa May was in Africa last month or a few weeks ago, and she was dancing, and she did dancing. Do you think she's dancing? She's dancing for money. She's dancing because she's going again to pick up slaves. Because she knows I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose some stuff in Europe. Where can I supplement what I'm losing? Hey, hello. If I have to dance for you, I get what I want. And so we begin to parade them. The same thing with China. China is going into Africa, and they're investing a lot of money. And I'm asking myself, where did China get this money from? That we in Africa do not have this money. And so the same slavery that happened many years ago, we're repeating the same thing, because China is going to give you this money. And if anybody's in business, and please listen to me, all my listeners, if you're in business, you must make profit. If your business is not making profit, get out of that business. And you must realize that what China is doing is they're doing business. Simple. If they give you a penny, they want to make sure at least they get a pound back. So when they're investing all this money, it's not out of their goodwill, it's not out of their free will. In some way, you're going to pay this money back. And what happens? You're enslaved. And that's how we have debt. And so before you know it, the government is owing more money that they can never get out of. Guess what? That's another kind of slavery. And I think that's the worst kind of slavery, because when you have money, you can command stuff. But when you don't have money, you have to be at the mercy of somebody else. And I think Black history, we need to begin to highlight the importance of economic empowerment. This is why, for me, I don't believe Black history should only be about 1 month. It should only be about October, or in America in February. No, it's not about. It should be all year round. Because when you're talking about Black History Month, we need to begin to talk about, are we supporting our black businesses? There's some black businesses out there, nobody's supporting them. And then in October, we come out, hey, Black History Month, Black History Month. And after, when November comes in, you forget those businesses. You see, we're repeating a cycle. We're repeating a cycle, and I hope that we can wake up. You know, the average when money gets into a black man, it spends only hours before it goes to somebody of another race.
True. That's true.
But go and meet the Asians. It takes months. They circulate the money. The Jews as well. They buy from each other. They trade with each other. And this is why I think Black History Month is important, because it's not just about the month, it's about what we hold dear, the value system. A lot of us do not value ourselves. This is why, you know, I love the fact that, you know, they do all these events of Black History Month, and then there's you know, maybe they parade the ladies and say they're modeling and all. That's good, and I know our sisters are beautiful. But sisters, can I tell you, there's more to your body. You've got a brain. You know, you have a brain. You don't just showcase your body and say I'm beautiful, and they parade you. You can also tell them what your intellect can do. You can tell them what your mind can do. You can tell them what your soul, the kind of soul that you have. Because even now you find people, and it's so tragic that I was speaking to somebody who was my mom's friend. She was talking about her son, who is he says, "Oh, I can't date black people," and you know, they're black. So, so he's going to another race to get a wife. He has girlfriends. He said, "Why? Because they're high maintenance." I said, why? What do you mean they're high maintenance? That means your mom is high maintenance. Because it's this what this media tells us. The media portrays a certain kind of black people. I mean, even when you look at films, if the actor, if he's black, maybe he's an athlete, or maybe he's a rapper, he's a singer, you know, you hardly see a black person portrayed who is a business tycoon, you know, who is a captain of industry, you know, maybe they will show he's a butler. You know, we moved on from the days of butler. You know, we need to begin to highlight the successes, because what our children see is what they become. If all they see is an athlete, if all they see is a rapper, guess what they want to become? They want to become a rapper. Because they see, oh, he's having a good time. You know, and so this is why I think Black history is very important, and it's about really first and foremost our value system.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I think you've nailed it. You've said everything that every parent that are tuning in today needs to hear, that we need to echo to our children. That because people have made their role models from the wrong side, it's the wrong area, because they're not seeing what their parents are doing. When your parents are not successful, they believe that there's no success among black people. They have to be looking for the rapper. Everybody cannot be a rapper. Everybody cannot be a singer. Everybody cannot be an athletic person. But business tycoons, they don't flash their names, truly. But this particular month, we need to sit back and think, hang on a minute, we cannot remain on the same spot. We can go beyond this. We can do more than even beyond what our parents did.
Absolutely.
This is a time to reflect. You know, I was reading a particular writing that somebody sent to me today. It said, you've been criticizing yourself for years and it has worked. Try to approve yourself and see what will happen. You've been limiting yourself and saying, oh, black people cannot do this, and therefore you look at people that by chance they made it. They have not really you can't just copy them and make it, because they've it's by chance, by luck, or that's their destiny, which is not common. So black people should start to reflect and tell your children, maybe speak the word of encouragement to them, that you can become whatever you want to become.
Absolutely. And particularly anchor it with the blackness, because the word black today, I mean, when you look at the world today, most things that are negative are associated, they say black.
So the black.
You know, they have to put black there. You know, when it's a sad time, it's black. You know, but there's richness in black. You know, black, gold. You know, beautiful. We hardly hear black is beautiful. You know, is when they want to say something derogatory, then they use the word black. And unfortunately, when a child, and subconsciously, when we grow up in the media telling us that black is negative, we even want to stay away from black. I was watching a TV show. It was I can't remember. It was a talk show on TV, and there was this girl who came up, beautiful black girl. Well, she was saying to herself, she's not black. You know, she only hangs around white people. She can't hang around black people. Black people are this and black people. And I'm saying, you are black. And I think what it is somewhere along the line, someone has told her that black is dirty. Or black is bad. You know, I mean, this is one of the reasons why a lot of our sisters, they're bleaching. Yeah, and this is not to take a day. Let me tell you, sisters and men too, men are bleaching too.
I don't know.
Let me tell you, whether you're bleaching or not, you are beautiful. Your soul is beautiful. And this is why things like Martin Luther King's, you know, I have a dream that his young children will not be judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. It's your character that speaks volumes of you, not really your color. And this is why when we're talking about black history, it will be very silly, or it will be very myopic of us to just talk about the color of the skin. It goes beyond that. There is a great heritage, and we must be proud of that heritage. And we must showcase to our children that this is a great heritage. There are many that, I mean, for example, in the United Kingdom, if you close down, if you said, in a hospital, let's just remove everyone who is Nigerian or has a Nigerian heritage, you know, the hospital will close down. Because right from the consultants, the doctors, to the janitor, they are all represented.
True.
But this is the thing, the media doesn't tell us that there are some consultants that are doing great things and they are black. And so when your child grows up and they don't know that there is a different life, and so mom is working, you know, shift. She wakes up very early, she goes 6 a.m., goes some cleaning job or some menial job. And, you know, I'm not taking a dig. Everybody has their path in life, but we must begin to show our children better. We must begin to show them better, because the level of their exposure will determine the level of their achievement. Because what they cannot perceive, they cannot achieve.
True.
What they cannot see, and they need to see it, and I'm not talking about seeing it physically, they need to see it in their eyes, mind. If I can believe in myself that I can be a businessman, if I believe it in my head, you know, as a child, everything I begin to do, I begin to walk towards becoming a businessman. If I see people like, say, for example, Oprah Winfrey on TV, you know, and they're saying black, you know, for example, I know this for a fact, that on TV, when you go on TV, if you're black, they kind of make up the use on you. They try to make you a bit lighter so that you are more presentable. I mean, what's that? This is who I am. Don't tell me to become lighter. And so when you begin to see black people and they're successful, and more so they're comfortable in their skin, and we really need to get comfortable, because a lot of us are not comfortable.
True.
When we're comfortable, we can speak authoritatively. When we're comfortable, we stop begging for what is rightfully ours.
True.
You know, and this is why in Africa at the moment, and you know, elections are coming up here, left, right, and center in different parts of Africa. But China is going in and they're spending all this money. I think it was in Ghana. China went there and Ghana rejected their money. I was like, fantastic. Fantastic. Because they've seen something. They've seen ahead that if I take this money, you know, listeners, let me tell you again, you can write this down. There's no free lunch.
True. They don't give.
Also, write this down. There's no free breakfast. There's no free dinner. There's nothing free. If somebody is saying, I'm giving you something free, there is a cost to it.
True.
Either they've paid the cost, or you're going to pay the cost. But somebody's got to pay, because there's no free, there's nothing like a free dinner, no free lunch. And this is what we all need to know, because I'm guessing somebody in their government there is thinking, hey guys, if we collect this money, before we end up paying it back, we end up paying more back. It's just like credit cards.
Oh yeah, you pay double.
You pay more than double.
If you don't pay it on time, you pay triple.
Exactly. And then when you want to make a big decision, then that company or that country comes to you and say, put down your military defense, so that we can write off your debt. So now you begin to sell your people, or they will tell you, okay, we've got some products. They're fake products, but don't worry, if we can ship some to your country and sell it, we'll cancel some of your debt. And guess what? They ship those products into the country, it begins to kill their people. It's genocide. And guess what? Because of money. And this is why we must be empowered economically. It's very important. Very important.
Fantastic. As you were talking, I just remember one article that somebody pointed out that I read. You know, this this Nigerian doctor in America that did an operation on a child in the womb and returned the baby back into the mother's womb.
Yeah.
That nobody has ever done that. When they wrote the article, they removed the word Nigerian doctor. They just focused their attention on the a child from the womb was operated upon and was returned. And it was somebody that challenged it, that who did the operation? Why will the person not be named? Why will the person's face not be known? Because it's a black face. Because it's a Nigerian doctor. Until before everybody knew who this person was. But I bet if it's not a black face, the name will be known before knowing what the person did. So at times we need to just take our stand and continue. There are so many brains in Africa. There are so many intelligent people. There are so many people that need encouragement and motivation. We need to encourage each other. We need to let our children know that they are good. They are not useless. You can't compare them with anybody, but there's something in them. Everybody has something that they carry.
Absolutely. And if they don't see it, how do they know it? How can they, if all they see is their white counterparts running businesses and doing things and all of that stuff? I mean, like the surgeon you mentioned, I remember him. Yeah, it's exactly like that. Everybody, there's a saying that a child that is good is his father's, a child that isn't is his mother's. And nobody wants to be associated to a bastard. You know, when you've not done anything, nobody knows you. But the moment you do, he's my cousin, uncle's father's brother's sister, and we used to live next door in the. Wait, so everybody wants to relate themselves somehow. You know, it's a bit like the boxer, the Nigerian boxer in the UK, Anthony Joshua. Now, Anthony Joshua, when he was growing up, had some issues. You know, like a young person, some juvenile delinquencies and stuff. And at that time, they wrote in the newspapers, Nigerian boy, when he began to win titles and win things, UK now adopted him. They dropped the Nigerian because they're trying to say, this is our son. You know, now I don't care who adopts us. At the end of the day, we must be highlighted for doing something. But I'm just tired of being highlighted for only our strength. In terms of, you know, you talk about being an athlete running, you know, or like Anthony Joshua and things like that, and it begins to sell that message, because that's why the police, they manhandle black children, because the media is so portrayed that the black child or the black person is strong, and so when you want to handle him, don't treat him with respect that you treat his white counterpart. Rough handle him and put him on the floor and all of that, because it's what the media is portraying. But if the media would portray that we speak Queen's English, we dress nicely, we've got values, we have respect, we need to have more of that. You know, there was a lady, I think she was an attorney general, and she was stopped by the police, and when they stopped her for no reason. And because she knew about, she first of all asked them, "Yes, officer, is there a problem?" And they said, "Oh, blah 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 blah." They said, "My tail light is working." And then she brought out, like I said, "I'm the attorney general." Immediately,
they changed.
Until she asked, she said, "What's your badge number? I'm going to have to report this. I'm going to look into this." But we need people to begin to know that we are all not riffraffs. And the truth is, even the whites and the Caucasians, not everybody is perfect. They have the riffraffs as well. But guess what? They don't highlight the riffraffs. I remember in what you call it now, in Swansea, there was a drug bust, I think about a few months ago. And the truth is, I know that there are white people involved in that, but when they were going to put the pictures of the people they busted, they were all black faces, black and Asian faces. You know, subconsciously. And then when I began to read the comments under the thing, it was saying, "Oh, this is what's happening to our immigration. They're coming into our country. They're selling drugs and blah blah blah." But the truth is, the kingpins of this stuff, they're white people behind them. But we need to begin to tell our story, and this is the problem. When you let other people tell your story, they can tell it anyhow. You know, it's very similar with Jesus, where, you know, when you see most pictures, you see Jesus, who is a white man with blue eyes. You know, I know it's funny, but when you read your Bible, you know, this guy is from the Arab. You know, went to Egypt, and we know he has golden skin. He wasn't white, but because the white are the one they're presenting their own perspective. And anytime people present their perspective, they try to paint themselves in a good light.
Sure.
And they don't mind painting every other person in a bad light. And so we need to begin to write our stories. We need to begin to say, this is our achievement. This is what we are doing. This is how we have come. This is how far we have come from slavery, from whatever. We're not crying about slavery. I mean, slavery happened, yes. You know, it's all done and dusted, but now this is where we are at. But more particularly, I want us, the conversation around the dinner table, to begin to say, this is where we are going.
Sure.
You know, this is where we're going, not just dancing. I mean, if dancing is what God has called you to do, fantastic, dance.
Well, everybody cannot be dancing.
No. I mean, one of the things I would love to see is to see black businesses. I mean, you know, you have, for example, restaurants and stuff, people, or maybe grocery shops that sell. But I find out that that's one level. We need to go to another level, because I don't know about you, in my area, in my Tesco, in my area, when you go in, there's a section, they're now selling
African food,
super malt, they're selling pound of yam, they're selling all those things.
Some are selling okra,
they're selling they're selling okra,
plantain, yam
and all of this stuff. So guess what, they're taking businesses away from our people. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, if they're doing that, we need to do the same. Why don't we take some business off them? Why don't we begin to sell things that, yes, we are catering for our black people, but we're also catering for the white people? Why is it that our restaurants only serve food that only our people can eat? And this is why you need to begin to wake up, because when you're serving food and you pour so much pepper inside it, and you know the white guy cannot eat it, it's not going to come back. This is why I love the Chinese. The Chinese, wherever you go in the world, there's Chinatown. In London, there's China. In Newcastle, when I was there was Chinatown. They all put themselves in a district and they begin to work together. So you can see like 3 different Chinese restaurants serving something slightly different, but they're bringing you in. But the truth is, the food that they're selling, that's not their original Chinese food.
That's what someone said.
They've modernized it to fit the culture that they're in. But we black people, we still not learn. We've not learned that. We're doing amala. Fine, amala is great, but when you do the amala, do it in a way that somebody else who has never tasted amala would love your amala. Now when you get home, put as much pepper in your own, but the one you will sell to the public is the same thing with the Asians. You know, we see all this curry. People come out of the clubs and or they want to buy, so they buy chips and curry. Now, chips and curry, after fish and chips, is the national food of the United Kingdom.
Really?
But the curry that they sell is not the same curry that they cook in their house. They've modernized it, they presented it, they put it in a nice bowl, they do everything and they present it, and you say, I love this. Well, I'm taking money off you.
Wow.
But we limit ourselves and we only present things to suit us. And this is where we were talking about economic empowerment. For example, I don't know about you. I know this is a Christian radio. One of the things that, a lot of things really upsets me, especially around this Black history, because I think Black people, we have so much potential. True. I don't know about you. So many, I think it was last week, there was a large prayer event in London, overnight prayer event, about 40,000 people gathered overnight. Now, this is one of the things that irritates me, because I have a bit of insight as to how much is being spent on that event to host that thing at the Excel Center. This is what the Arabs have done. They brought money from Saudi Arabia. They bought the Excel Center. And so, we Christians, we're hiring the venue from them. And I'm thinking, why can't all these Christians and all these other Black people come together? You build something, let other people hire it from you. You see, and this is why it really frustrates me, because a Black man, when you go to Africa and he says he's rich, is what it terms as richness is a fat bank account. And so all around him, the roads are bad, people are suffering, and he has millions in his account.
Wow.
What sense does that make? And this is why Black history needs to begin to empower, and we need to show people that you can get rich doing a legitimate business.
True. Wow. I think FMJ have shared so much. Please go and download this episode on SoundCloud, or you go on YouTube. You'll be able to listen to it over and over and over again. This is a view of Black History Month. Please, let's make proper use of it. I don't know what level you are. I don't know what you are thinking. I don't know if you have a goal or not. Begin to set a goal and say, I will do this. I can do it. And I know that we can do all things through Christ that strengthens us.
Amen.
There is wisdom. Tap into the wisdom of people around you. Begin to tell yourself positive affirmation every day that I can do it, I will succeed, I will make it, my children will excel. Begin to rain these blessings over them. And what you hear every day, you become your personality, and God will help us in Jesus' name. I think our time is fast spent. Thank you so much, FMJ, for coming over, leaving the kids and their mom at home. I say hello to you wherever you are. Thank you so much. God bless you, and thank you to all our listeners. God bless you all, and stay safe.
Meet Pastor Jummy Opedare, a devout woman of God, wife, mother, and entrepreneur. A God-fearing woman who has devoted her time to ensuring that God's message is used to empower everyone, but most especially women. With a strong belief in the importance of women empowering women and educating each other through our life experiences, she is the founder of Women's Forum, Let's Be Real, a forum for women to work through issues and set and accomplish goals together. Held every second Friday of every month at 6 Elton Road, Lee Green, London. Keep up with Let's Be Real here on PRZ FM every Tuesday, 8 p.m.